Welcome back. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make the sugar jar and lid for our sugar jar and lid project. There are 3 other videos already about this, each broken up into the cylinder, the gallery, and then the lid, but I'm going to do this demonstration all together in one go. So I'm going to talk less. This is for the kids that kind of have a go on making all this stuff already and they just want to watch the video with a little less explanation. Okay, so I'm going to center my clay first. And I'm starting with about a pound and a half. Don't start with more than that. We don't want these to be huge. They're just sugar dishes. We're not making huge storage jars. Skills on this lesson are altering a cylinder, creating a gallery, and making the lid. You'll need 2 lumps of clay. This is the first lump of clay. You want to make sure you center so that your clay particles are nice and even and ready to go. Open your clay, going down to 1/4 of an inch. As you open your clay, make sure to hook your finger back to create the floor. Open it to about 2 inches diameter. Compress your floor once, twice, 3 times a charm. Compress the rim and pull it into a volcano shape. Grab my sponge, first lump of clay, pull it up into a volcano-like shape. Compress the rim. For this project, as we make our gallery, we want to make sure our rim is nice and thick so that we can have enough room and enough clay to make the gallery. Okay, another pull number 2, grab the clay, bringing it up to the top, making sure that at the top I leave a little extra clay, compress the rim and thicken it. Okay, slow my wheel down a little bit more. 3rd pull. There we go. There's my 3rd pull to get that cylinder nice and pulled out. Gonna dip in and get most of the water out of the bottom. Now I'm gonna work on my gallery. Gonna color this in a bit. Set the rim. To make the gallery, I'm gonna hold my fingers on either side and pinch and press my index finger down into the clay to make that gallery. Gonna curve the inside so it's not sharp. Gonna go back in with my thumbnail to straighten it out and compress the rim. Okay, there's our gallery. Now I'm going to take the remaining clay that's on the inside here and I'm going to pull a little bit more out of the base and shape the bottom a little bit to make it a little bit fluted at the bottom. Now I'm going to have my fingers up at the top and color it just a bit. Go back in and I'm going to pull up and out to make a shoulder. So that we have an altered form. You can kind of see on the profile over here, you've got that bellied out form and then you've got a little shoulder. All right, using your rib, you can go back and shape just a little bit. I'm going to pull this down and shape the outside. Pull up here to shape the shoulder. Trim away a little bit of excess clay at the bottom. Now seats the cheese and get the undercut happening. I'm just gonna shape that little extra part on the bottom there. Dip in one more time to get the clay out of the center. Go back in and collar this just a bit. Now I've got the remains of my gallery left in here, so I'm just going to clean it up. Now let's say your gallery is a little bit sloppy at the top, or it's not quite so neat. You could take your rib and use your rib to clean that up. Okay, last steps before we take this off. Clean up the edges with your sponge. I want to do one more shaping. To make the shoulder a little bit more apparent. I'm just gonna round the neck out just a bit. There we go. Now, last step before you take it off the wheel is to get your calipers. This is the new part of the assignment, is to make sure that these calipers, the wing nut should be nice and tight. You're gonna measure the top by holding it over the top of the opening, and this is the diameter of what my lid will need to be. I'm going to set that aside for the moment. Turn my wheel off. Water on the side. Cut that off. Dry my hands. Slide the pot off and set it over here on my tray. Can you see that? Turn it that way. There you go. Set it on there. Now I'm going to continue on. Clean off my wheel. Now you get your little piece of clay. This one should be approximately a half pound or less. Just need to be a little bit. Center it. You might have to center it with your fingertips rather than your whole hand. But do cone it once or twice just to make sure there's no air bubbles. Okay, once you've got that centered, to make the lid, what you're going to do is you're going to take your finger and gently press down. Just going to leave that raised nub, and that's going to become your handle. You take this handle and gently pinch. I'm going to just slide this video over a little bit better so you can see it. Pinch that and it's going to raise up, almost like you're centering a cone of clay. You can shape that top however you'd like. This nubbin is going to be what people are going to be grabbing onto as they pull the jar off, or the lid off the jar. So make sure you do it nicely. Okay, now I'm going to flatten this all the way out with my finger. And then I'm going to take my calipers, which are set from before, and just graze them right across the edge here. I'm going to lead with my right caliper. I'm just going to press down to make the edge. Now that I've got that edge measured, I'm going to slow my wheel down a little bit and take my pin tool at the edge here, straight down till I reach the wheel head, turn it off. Now sometimes you can use your rib to do this, but in class I don't have a fancy rib or any tools for that, so you can just use a pin tool, take that little bit off, turn your wheel back on, smooth that edge down. Like so. Double check it with your calipers before we take it off here. It's a little bit on the small side. So if it's on the small side, you can press down a little bit more and pull that clay out just a tad. You can press that rim. Okay, and we can trim this up a little when we get done too. Good, that's perfect. Okay, now water on the wheel head. Take your wire tool. Normally I would pull towards myself, but for this video, I'm gonna slide this way. See if that's the right way, yeah. And you can get that water underneath it, and then you can trail it over to the edge of your wheel, and that'll help you lift it up. Okay, once you get that lifted up, set it onto the same board that your sugar jar is on. Now, if you want to make the little spoon hole for your jar, you can take a pin tool, point towards the center, point towards the center, and you're going to have like a little trapezoid shape. Take your pin tool, curve, and pop that little piece out. You can smooth it with your finger. And that is the lid and the jar for your sugar jar assignment.